I will unbox and review the GL-iNET mini router called Mango. But first, we should visit the website for more information and the specifications. And you can also see what other GL-iNET routers are out there. Now for this one, it is advertised to secure your personal privacy wherever you go. So that means this is a travel router that you can use in hotels or cafes. And on the photos, you can see we have a USB port and two LAN ports and a micro USB for power. And for power, we can use this one or power this using power bank and power adapters or chargers that must 5 volts. And for VPNs, we only have a maximum of 45 Mbps for WireGuard and 11 Mbps for OpenVPN. You can secure our DNS using Cloudflare or other providers. Here are the other specifications if you're interested. Well, important thing is we only have a 100 Mbps Ethernet port and we do not have 5 GHz support. So expect not that fast Wi-Fi speeds. But at least this one is lightweight. Only 40 grams. For the actual photos, we have the box of the unit, a small one, and the side view, and finally the back view. You can see that there's an FCC ID that you can Google to determine more information about the insides of the device. Peripherals, we have a LAN or LAN cable and then the USB cable, and of course the unit itself. Now zooming into the unit, we have two LAN ports that is only 100 Mbps and a micro USB connector for power. And on the other side, we have the USB port, a reset button, and a toggle switch. For the USB, you can plug in USB modems on this one, but we will not be using that for this video. The backside, you can check more information, the default IP address, the default passwords, and the MAC address. So just the backside of the unit and the system on a chip and some other unpopulated pads. Now for this one, you can see the 5 volts that I highlighted. You can solder some wires there if you do not want to use the micro USB to power the device. And basically that is all on the device. There's not much. Just a quick demonstration of the built-in firmware. You can visit the dashboard on your browser by going to 192.168.8.1 and you are prompted to change your administrator password. After changing the password, you will be redirected to the dashboard interface that will have the configuration for this device. And they are self-explanatory and easy to understand if you have experience in configuration of Wi-Fi routers. But if not, you can just Google the terms on the internet and pretty much get an answer instantly. So on this one, we have checked the Wi-Fi settings like the SSID or the name, the password, and the guest Wi-Fi name. For the clients, you can just see the connected devices on our router. I just blurred the MAC addresses for privacy. And for upgrading, you can use online upgrade and local upgrade. Now the firmware can be downloaded on the GL-iNET website. For the firewall, this will only work if you have a static IP address. But mostly in the Philippines, we are under CGNAT and this will not work for you. So I advise to just leave these settings blank. So for the client, you can use this one to connect to your favorite VPN subscription. And for the server, it would only work if you are not under CGNAT. So in this case, mostly are under one, so it will not work. So for the WireGuard client, again, this is much faster than OpenVPN and you can configure your favorite WireGuard VPN provider here. For the server, again, with the CGNAT issue, this will not work for us. And for the internet kill switch, this will disconnect the router to the internet if the VPN stops working. Now for the VPN policy, we can set a device to use or their data to go through the VPN or if not. And for the plugins, we can set or install other packages on our device. So you have to hit the update button first on the upper right before listing the new packages. But mostly people will not need to use this or customize this one. Now for the file sharing, you have to install the software or the Samba software for this to work. And we only have 2 megabytes of free space, so I will not be installing that. For the cloud management, this is on the GL-iNET cloud. And captive portal, just like on piece of Wi-Fi's, IGMP, I'm not sure what this one is. Admin password, you can change it here. The LAN IP, you can change it here. The time zone, and the MAC cloning. For the MAC cloning, you can impersonate as your smartphone if you are connected to a restricted Wi-Fi environment. IPv6 is not really being used much in PH, so we can disable that. Custom DNS, we can use a different DNS server other than the one that's provided by our ISP. For example, a Cloudflare DNS or a Google DNS. And for the button settings, we can toggle some actions if we press the button to the left or to the right. And network mode, we are default on the router mode. You can set this one as an access point if you have an upstream router or extender. Now this revert firmware, I think this will only factory reset the device. And for the Lucy, this is the one that openwrt is using for the interface and it's not installed by default. We will now demonstrate testing the repeater mode of this device. So first we need to log into the dashboard. Enter your administrator password. Now go to the repeater, click scan, and this will look all the publicly accessible or non-hidden Wi-Fi. Connect to your target Wi-Fi. Enter the password of that Wi-Fi and click remember. And now hit join. And we are now connected to our target Wi-Fi. And now you should have internet connection. So we can try using the fast.com, very accurate for speed test. And we are getting 36 Mbps. So we do not use VPN on this setting or in this demo. So but the latency is high to 77 milliseconds. And now for the DNS configuration. First, we can check our current DNS. It will be provided by our ISP or internet provider. You can check on DNS leak test and standard test, and you will see that our DNS is powered by our ISP. In this case, it is powered by Smart Communications. Now we will configure our custom DNS. So you can use DNS over TLS and select Next DNS or Cloudflare. And of course, we should click Save or Apply. DNS script, this is another technology for DNS. But for now, we'll try the DNS over TLS. Success, so we are going back to the DNS leak test. Click Standard Test. And it should now say that we are using the Cloudflare DNS. Now take note that this means that Cloudflare will be able to see your domain or any DNS request that your device makes. So be wary of what DNS server you trust. Now you can also set a manual DNS. For example, the Google DNS. Click Apply and wait for it to success. And we can now check back to the DNS leak test. So again, testing again. And it must say that we are now using a Google DNS. And as you can see, this is now on the Google DNS. We'll now try to connect to the device using SSH. On Windows, you can use PuTTY, but on Linux, you can just open terminal and connect using the default or the built-in SSH client, as you can see on the screen now. For the password, I just used my administrator dashboard password. And you can see this device is powered by openwrt, but the lower version. So you can configure some settings here that is not accessible on the dashboard. But if you're not an expert, do not change anything because it might break the device. So yeah, just be careful. Now on this part, we will try to check the firmware of the device. You can update the firmware using online upgrade if you're connected to the internet, but if not, you can just click local upgrade and download the firmware on the GL-MT website yourself. As you can see here, click on the firmware and you will be redirected to the list of firmware that you can install to the device. But again, if you want to be open source, you can just use the vanilla openwrt firmware for this device instead of the GL-MT one. Here are the steps provided by GL-MT to unbrick the device and to update the firmware. So I will not be discussing this in depth, maybe on the next part, but everything is documented, so you can just Google it up. So this is the step-by-step recovery of the device to update the firmware or to recover it from break. So again, this is the GL-MT MT300N-V2 Mango mini router. And if you want to buy this, you can just go to Shopee or Amazon. But don't expect much power on this one because this is only a very small and a cheap router. So thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next part.